Today's topic is yet another video that makes me realize that men are disposable. It is wild. I'm gonna play the video.
I live my life unapologetically on my terms. So if my daughters that are overly spoiled and educated in every way and have friends all over the world and world traveled in the best schools in the world, if they have a problem with me at the end of the day, then they can kick rocks too.
You guys notice in the things that he says that he's giving to his daughters, overly spoiled, cool. Well educated, cool. Well traveled, cool. There's no mentions of love in this. There's no mentions of investing my time and energy into everything. There's just mentions of material goods. When I hear a lot of these guys talk about starting families, all they ever seem to really talk about is the money. I could provide them with a better life. Well, what does that really look like?
Let's start with number one.
I love independent women.
Oh, you know what I love? I love strong, masculine men. I love men who look after their women and treat their woman like a goddess. From the man's side, he has to truly offer her an allowance so that she contains her independence. She doesn't have to ask him for money every time she wants something.
If I pay for today's date, you pay the next.
What? Oh, if I have to pay for a date, there won't be a next.
When I hear a lot of these guys talk about starting families, all they ever seem to really talk about is the money. I could provide them with a better life. Well, what does that really look like?
Yo, I seen a post where it was like, oh, if you want to take me out, he got to pay for my babysitter. Why should my baby daddy and me got to pay for my babysitter when you the one that want to take me out? What?
I'm not going to ask to be, oh, pay for my babysitter. I'm expecting you to know to do that for me. Like, if I'm like, oh, like, I would go out with you, but I can't find a sitter, it's up to you to be like, yo, I really want to take this girl out. I'm about to pay for her babysitter. So if I notice that you didn't think to do something like that, or you ain't try to like work around that in whichever way, then I'm not, then I'm not messing with you. But I'm like, and I'm telling you, real like women who live this lifestyle, they're not saying it, they're expecting it. And then they weed you out accordingly. And that's the way it should be done.
When I hear a lot of these guys talk about starting families, all they ever seem to really talk about is the money. I could provide them with a better life. Well, what does that really look like?
On the first date, I had to get my daughter something to eat before he took me out. So I was like, can you run me by the McDonald's real quick because I'm running behind, woo woo. We get to McDonald's. All she got was her classic, a milkshake, 4-piece nugget, and a small fry. When the lady at the window asked for the bread,
he's like, where's that? Nigga, you said run me through McDonald's real quick so we can, nigga, you won't pay for it.
I'm sorry, okay, I think that's the already right that was now. The first problem.
That ain't no problem.
At that moment,
that's your problem.
Look, and it was at that moment. Now I had the bread,
paid for the,
and I even asked him, did he want anything? But look, it was at that moment that I knew you were never getting this.
Because he ain't pay for your daughter food.
When I hear a lot of these guys talk about starting families, all they ever seem to really talk about is the money. I could provide them with a better life. Well, what does that really look like?
Okay, best friends, let's jump right into this juicy girl talk video. How to get a guy to spend money on you, sis. Number one is test him. Why do you want to test him? Because you want to make sure that he's the spending money on you type. Some guys, like to spend money on themselves and themselves only. And if you bring it up to them, about spending money on you, they're going to flat out call you a gold digger. This is my money, da-da-da-da-da. So the first thing you want to do is start a conversation like this. Like, oh my gosh, it's the first of the month already. Like, I feel like I hardly ever have money to myself. I'm always paying all these bills. Oh my God, so annoying, right? And if he's the type to spend money on you, he's gonna be like, word, babe, that's crazy. Like, wait, how much do you pay? How much is your rent? Oh, it's $1,500. All right, well, I'm gonna give you $1,500 when I see you later on today. If a guy, just out of the gate, straight out the gate, volunteers to pay your bills, then is more of that to come, okay?
When I hear a lot of these guys talk about starting families, all they ever seem to really talk about is the money. I could provide them with a better life. Well, what does that really look like?
So yeah, I was raised by a single mother. My father makes way less than my mom does. My mom is at a high position. She makes good money. My father is a bus driver in France. He makes bare minimum wage. Yeah, he has advantages, but it doesn't really do much. She doesn't even collect child. Yeah.
So basically, because he couldn't provide, you think he would have made the situation not any better?
Yeah, basically. It would just I feel like he would have been more of a weight than a help. What does a father bring other than the finances? Like what?
When I hear a lot of these guys talk about starting families, all they ever seem to really talk about is the money. I could provide them with a better life. Well, what does that really look like?
Are relationship prenups a good idea?
Ladies, your strongest weapon is your intuition. If somebody's handing you a contract on day one saying, if it don't work, your ass is out the door, your ass needs to be out the door on day one. Why is it that after 5-10 years a relationship doesn't work? You're gonna throw me out of the house? No, I'm keeping the house, the car, I'm keeping everything. Your ass is leaving the house. Amen.
When I hear a lot of these guys talk about starting families, all they ever seem to really talk about is the money. I could provide them with a better life. Well, what does that really look like?
150, maybe to 250,000 a year would be comfortable for sure. The more the merrier, but that'd be comfortable.
I was just having this conversation with my friend, and she was like, you have to manifest a husband, girl. Like, you have to really think about the lifestyle that you want to live when it comes down to vacations and how many kids you want to have. And just like the lifestyle that you want to have. And I feel like ideally my husband needs to be making like 650,000.
Thinking of your future, what % of the family income do you personally want to contribute?
So I really want to be a stay-at-home mom. So I guess I wouldn't be contributing financially.
I don't want any of my income to be needed in the family. I want the man to be 100% the supporter, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to work and I'm not going to have my own business.
What would you want his income to be? If you're going to be a stay-at-home mom, like what kind of range would his income be?
I feel like this is gonna sound bad. I feel like 300,000. Like, I guess if they made less than that, I feel like we wouldn't have the lifestyle I wanted, so I would work.
Right.
I'd like to talk about what exactly commensurate compensation means. Commensurate meaning that if I as an employee or a business owner provide a service, then I expect to be compensated to a degree that is commensurate with the value of that service. Now, the reason I say this is because certain women that come on my channel, traditional women, seem to have a predilection for telling me that they are good women to their husbands, not resembling the feminists in their constant demands for female privilege. And so I would like to appraise these services that these benevolent women offer to their husbands in hopes of determining just how important the alleviations you offer are to your men in terms of burden relief. So a lot of it boils down to a simple exchange of sex for resources. Okay, is that commensurate?
Speaking from experience, son.
And to you, generic American husband, I feel nothing but pity. You see, it's pitiful to see you drag your dried out exoskeleton wherever the missus leads you, wondering why the weekends pass by so fast and why the work weeks last so long and why you never get to see your kids and why you're too tired to see them anyway, and never once do you ask yourself why the suburbanite prostitute passing for your wife doesn't get off her lazy ass and start helping you out. Well, because of the sex. Only you get it less and less now, don't you? Only even if you were still getting it at the same rate, you're still slated to die earlier because you, and this is the part where you should listen and listen good, you are not receiving commensurate exchange. You see, we men have been told that this is a division of labor, and indeed it is. That's exactly what it is. A categorically unfair division of labor. The loving traditional wife wouldn't be so loving if she was the one pulling the 70-hour work week. And what then would your traditional wife say when you attempt to pay her in sex? That form of payment is good enough for her to pay you with, but not good enough for her to work for and receive as payment.
It really shows that men are disposable. Men and society are very disposable.
Yep.
Very.
Do you finally get it now, Max?
If you ain't not one of them 6-figure, 7-figure dudes who paying all the bills and taking all the extra financial responsibility, you don't have the right to just sit there and be like, she gonna take care of everything and think like, you could do that. But if she got a grievance afterwards, I ain't even gonna be mad at her.
It doesn't really like, I want to say,
yo, someone can mind
it doesn't really
some
help
water.
the case.
He had water, he drank it all.
Stuff like
You felt like we were kind of blue pilled, right?